Okay, hello everyone. My name is Christy West. I am from Mount Vernon. I found conversational canvassing in Grafton County Democrats a year ago. I fell in love with the work they did, and I communicated with Ann and Martha and said, oh my gosh, I have to help. I'm a professional trainer. Please, please, please include me on whatever you do. But it was the end of the election. So here I am, and I'm going to conduct this is my first one, so give me a little grace um, for conversational canvassing. And you guys are the first one signed up too. So I'm from Mount Vernon. I've been on the Hillsborough County Dems committee for a while. I've been involved in our town committee. Miriam Ball is my very close friend and also from Mount Vernon. She can introduce herself. She's our technology guru in Mount Vernon.
I know a little bit, try and help out where I can. But yeah, I've known Christy for a few years now. Moved to New Hampshire about almost 4 years ago in 2019, just in time for the pandemic, so I could stay home. Yeah, I've been working with the Mount Vernon Dems and did a little bit of work also with the Hillsborough County Dems as well. And today I'm here to support Christy on the technology end and presenting and doing the breakout rooms. So I'm excited to be here.
And our hero, my hero anyway, is Ann Garland, whoever thought of this and decided to get interested in it. I just think you're going to change the state, change so much. And I'm so impressed, but I assume you guys all know each other, but you could introduce yourself, Ann.
So I'm Ann Garland. I'm chair of Grafton County. And I cannot claim the initiative for this. It came out of our voter outreach group, of which Martha, Rich, and Donna Pigeon and Barbara Jones were the original members, but I was chair at the time, so I was brought in. And we started a pilot in 2021 and moved it into 2022 and ended up training over 6 counties other than in Grafton County. So we're now taking it statewide, and we're just delighted that everybody is here because we keep tweaking it and testing it, and we love to see more people signing up. So thank you all for coming tonight.
And Lynn, I think everybody knows you, but could you introduce yourself?
I'm Lynn Thomas, co-chair with Jonna of Belknap County Dems, and I'm a past chair of Meredith Dems where I lived. Now I'm treasurer of Meredith. I'm going to be stepping down as Belknap County chair, partly because I've lost my hearing is really impaired now. Even though I wear hearing aids, I just can't do as much, and I don't want to drive people nuts asking them to repeat what they've said. So I'm backing off from being chair, but the team will continue admirably without me for sure.
That's excellent. Okay, Reva.
Hi, I'm Reva Tankel at Guilford, and I'm now the town chair for Guilford with Jonna as the co-chair. I'm also the treasurer, which I have been the treasurer for the past couple of years, and I'm keeping that because I've got a good system down. But now I've picked up the chair of Guilford, so I'm really excited to do this. One of our priorities this year for Guilford is growing our base and our connection to the Democrats registered in Guilford. We know we've got like 11, 12, 1,300 of them, and we're not connected with enough of them. And so we've got to find ways to get the Democrats, and let alone the independents who are like-minded, to come and connect with us regularly. So that's why I think this skill is going to greatly help our outreach efforts.
Hear, hear. I completely agree. Joshua? Joshua? Yeah, there you go.
Joshua Ritson, also Guilford. I'm new to the Belknap County Dems. Found my way over there, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and it's been great. I've been trying to spread the word, to do the best to bring in some new, younger faces. And as a few of you heard, I did recently get elected as a 1-year write-in Guilford Budget Committee member. So I'm excited for that. And thank you everybody here for your support, because I don't think I would have been able to do that without you. So happy to be here.
We love to see Democrats elected. Jonna, yes.
everybody knows me, but except for you guys. So Jonna Davis, co-chair of Belknap County. I was previously the chair of Guilford. Now I'm vice co-chair with Reva. Trying to get organized. Good direction for Belknap County. So I was been a little apprehensive. I actually have to admit, I do not knock on doors usually. So I'm usually I'm the tech person, I'm the data person, so I usually am in the office. So but I will give it a try.
I think it's much, everybody finds their niche. And if you have found yours with data, we have a data person in Mount Vernon that I completely rely on. So, but you talk to your neighbors, and that's essentially what this is.
Well,
and if,
I'm a waitress. So yeah, yeah. Well, I'm a
so you really
manager
talk to
now,
people.
But I've been a waitress for 40 years. So yeah, I do a lot of conversational.
It sounds like you've got probably more skills than all the rest of us put together. Marcia?
Oh, hi. I'm the vice chair of the Laconia Dems. And I think Eric would agree with me that one of our goals is similar to Guilford. So we will be interested to see how we can reach more people to come to the party. So
Wonderful. Thank you. And Eric? Hi.
Yeah, I'm Eric Hoffman. I'm the chair of the Laconia Dems. Like Marcia said, I think we need to get out there and talk to voters more. It's one of our priorities. So I guess we're interested in figuring out how to do that successfully.
So Amir, can you put up the slide presentation for me? And I just want to ask, this is a off the cuff question, is how many, just for show of hands, how many of you have done canvassing, probably more commonly the get out the vote, so right before election time? Now I can't see everybody. Hang on. Well, I can see everybody's face. Okay, so that's everybody. Did everybody raise their hand?
No, me and Joshua, I think, are the two out. So
I've done door knocking for my work, but not for anything political. I've actually went out and made a sign that said "not a politician."
What? So they'll answer the door for you?
That was the idea. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, that was just for my curiosity. You all have watched the videos now, so you are very familiar with Martha, who is the main narrator, and she did all of the workshops that I'm aware of last year. So I am pitching in just because I was so thrilled with what they're doing, because I've been doing canvassing in New Hampshire for about 16 years. And long time before conversational came up, but the reason I came to it was because of exactly that. I like the idea of talking to our neighbors in a directed way that is not, you don't even need a fence post. You literally can just talk to them and not be their enemy and find out what they're concerned about. And this just, the whole program, everything about it just does that beautifully. So I am really passionate about all of this. And I'm so glad that you guys are here. So the first thing that we're going to go over is what our working agreements are. These were presented in the videos, but we just want to reinforce we're all volunteers and we all are doing the very best that we can. What you're learning now is what has been found through some practice and scientific research works the best in order to persuade. What were those two segments that were in the video of the persuadable? There's some that are not persuadable, and we're not going to spend time on them. But we are offering a formula that has worked, but it is not a requirement. And I heard someone say today in a very casual way of, yeah, we're going to give them a script. But what I have found when they knock on the door, they actually all just speak in their own voice with their own understanding of what the issues or what their questions are, which I really admire and like, because that takes a little more courage and a little more practice. The next thing. We are all, as I was just explaining, we're all experts in one way or another. We know how to talk to our family. We know how to talk to our neighbors. We know issues that we care about the most. And you'll find, you want to find out from the people that you knock on their door what they care about. So we want to be the empathetic listener. But there's always things that you are going to be more informed about, that you are passionate about. So somehow in that exchange between the two, there's a filtering process, I think, of where they share some information of what their interest is, and you get a little clue as to what relates to something that you have experience with too. And then the conversation builds from there. And we're all learners from each other. And as I said of courage, I've forgotten who it was. Maybe it was Eleanor Roosevelt. She said, do something you're afraid of every day. And I feel like courage is a muscle. And if you exercise it, it will get stronger. And if you don't, then you won't be able to use it as much. And we're all obviously curious because we want, I mean, we're here. And we have compassion for our work, because I feel that way about most Democrats. And the last thing is, we're all volunteers. We're never going to blame somebody if they can't come to the meeting, if they can't show up exactly when they said they are going to. It doesn't matter. We're all volunteers. We got to have a little fun. Got to believe in what we do and put our actions toward the things that we believe in the most. But we certainly do not criticize anyone else for whatever they can or cannot do. Okay, so now we're going to review the agenda. So this is very brief what we're doing now. I don't know, what time did we actually end up starting, or for the 30 minutes? Maybe 6:25, was that right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we might not spend all this time on that. We might go into the role playing. We're going to spend about 20 minutes on the role playing. So, but first, I just want to review and your reflections and questions about the videos that you saw and the training that you've done so far. I'm in education, and what they've done with this program, it's called Flip the Classroom, where you actually get the most information instead of going into a classroom and having a lecture about a topic. You get the information beforehand, and then you can discuss it more fully in the classroom. They're doing it in high schools now. They're doing it in college. It's just part of educational theory. That part of what surprised me and impressed me so much with how these, I think some of you in Grafton are on the team were teachers, but it's just a brilliant learning method. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about what you learned from the videos, what you still remember from it, what talked to you, made you pay attention, and any questions that you have. And then we're going to spend 20 minutes doing role playing. 10 minutes, you'll be the canvasser, and for 10 minutes, you'll be the voter. So we're just going to go into the 3 breakout rooms. Who is it that stays in the main room? I think it's Reva and Near.
Well, it's supposed to be Reva and Jay, but
Reva and Josh.
Okay.
Reva and Josh, yeah, however it works.
Whatever works, and we're going to continue to record. The reason we're keeping 1 breakout room in the main Zoom is so we can record the full session and they can see the practice role playing too. So we're going to practice our conversations, and then we'll come back and we'll just do a quick review of, there is a website that will support you. One of the things about learning is that if you don't immediately go out and use it, then you lose it. So I heard that you guys are going to start canvassing pretty quickly, but they have done as equal to their videos and their training programs. They have created a website with an amazing amount of resources that whatever, you'll be able to see the videos again. Anyway, we'll just go look at it. It's in flux. It's being developed right now. We looked at some of the new things today, but you will be able to see the full version of it, I think they said by Monday. But you have the website. It's the same website where you saw the videos, and you have the password. So we're going to go on from there. Okay, so that's the review of the agenda. Okay, so then we have the outcomes. Actually, can we just talk about the review and reflection. Sorry, excuse me for just looking at my notes again. So the outcomes, I'm just wondering, are there any questions that you had from the videos, or could we just make a quick around the room? Does somebody have something to say of the one thing that really made them perk up and they wanted to do this and feel inspired to do it? Anybody?
Well, I'll just mention, after I happen to have watched all the videos before I went to the polls and worked as a ballot clerk last Tuesday. Jonna saw me at the end of sitting there for 12 hours, and I was there next to the wife of one of our, not our most extremist Republican, but certainly a longtime Republican representative of somebody I would not have had opportunity to have a conversation with before. And I quickly realized that this was kind of an opportunity to practice some of these skills because I didn't think of it in this way before. I wouldn't have talked to her probably much, because I wouldn't have known how to talk about anything political with her, because I know she's like from a totally different world, and I might have thought I might get upset or offend her or just say, or not, so I probably wouldn't have said anything. But because of this training, just having done those videos, I was able to say, wait, I need to listen to what she's saying. And I was able to feed back to her, because things like saying, wow, that I can see that you're really someone that cares about people. Because of what she was telling me about certain things. Or I could say, wow, it's really hard to be in that situation. So I was like so grateful that I had the little bit of experience, because I got into that situation and I could handle it. And I don't think I moved the needle in any great way, but there were a couple of flickers in her eyes, like, oh, well, when I would say, well, my experiences or my feeling, or I've thought about this. And you'd see a little flicker sometimes, like, oh, well, maybe there is something there. So I was so grateful for that.
Sounds like you were a very good empathetic listener, because you were listening to what her version of her truth was.
Exactly.
Excellent. I love to hear that. Anyone else?
I'll just add to Reva's that the woman that she speaks of is very, very religious right. Very religious right. With her is pretty.
But nobody got into a fight. There was no disharmony, no yelling.
Right. No blood.
It was a pleasant day. I love that. I love all of that. Sounds great. Anybody else? After you watch the videos?
A lot of listening, which I think I'll have to really, I'm pretty good at interrupting people. So I need to sit on my hands and do a lot more listening. So
I'm trying to remember the phrase of facts does not change feeling.
Right.
That's the thing that touched me in a big way.
mm-hmm.
Because if there's one thing that we have all learned in the last few years, is that is a true statement. And I don't know if any of you have somebody close to you who is a Trump supporter, but I do. It's my little brother, and he won't admit it to the family, and we're a bunch of liberal Democrats, and he feels outcast and persecuted, and we never bring up politics with him. We love him normally, but anytime you get into any factual conversation, it has just been slam the door shut really fast. And I guess I'm shocked at that, because I don't think that was true 10 years ago. Used to have more reasonable conversations with people.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, is there anything, this is purely for me too, because we're always learners and we're trying to grow. Is there anything that you felt that was not addressed in the videos that you wish that you had seen or heard by the time you got to this point?
I think I would have liked to have seen a younger person addressed. You know, like even the role playing still addressed older people. I would like to see a younger.
Okay. And oh, I know that they're working on that because
Yeah.
when they did it the last time, the only people that were involved were older folks like
Yeah.
us and
Yeah.
like me. And but they absolutely do have some younger people now. So you think a larger demographic of what the real voters are would be helpful. Okay. No, that's excellent. Okay, I'm having trouble with looking at my screen. Let's see. I'm trying to make it that I can see everybody. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is outcomes of I can't remember exactly what was said in the video, but it seems to me that when we knock on someone's door, you're at their home, and what I was talking about earlier of speaking to your neighbor, like I have one neighbor that I'm very friendly with. I have another neighbor that, you know, not so much. But I'm still friendly and polite to both of them. And having the connection with either one of them that we own similar grounds, we both care about that road. When the electric goes out, you know, we share that commonality together. So one of the outcomes that we hope comes from this kind of canvassing is that there will be more of a permanent connection, the same way that we New Englanders have, because we have to deal with the weather so much that other people don't. So the next thing is the unregistered voters, or what we might call low info or dormant Democrats or voters. I don't know about you, but I probably certainly in your bigger towns, you probably come across people who are either new to town or they're busy with small children or commuting to jobs, and they literally just do not know where to register, you know, just really basic information. So when this was first done, the thing that they focused on was making sure that everyone was registered and had access to voting, that they might not even know how to ask and didn't want to come across as uninformed, so might not ask and just would prefer not to vote. So this is the opportunity when you knock on the door, one of the things to double check, no matter what your issues are you a registered voter? I almost always start with some questions similar to that without putting them on the spot. The other question I usually come up with is, you know, well, what's on your, okay, you're a registered voter, yes or no? What's on your mind? What bothers you the most? You're going to be in this position of talking to these people, as Stacey Abrams said in the video, of having permanent teams going out and canvassing and talking to your neighbors on a regular basis. I don't know about you, since we're a very small town, when we were doing our canvassing, we were able to form a relationship. So from cycle to cycle, I could remember how many dogs or kids were at that house. And, you know, was there an elderly person in a wheelchair that I would have to remember? That's the kind of personal knowledge that will always make you a friend, and they'll let you in the door like they might not have before. Another really big thing, a few of you are data people on here, is collecting the data. Data is king, queen, emperor, everything. And we have, I don't know how you guys collect it, but every time I go to someone's door, I am furiously like dictating notes into my phone when I get back there. When you're using minivan, there's tools that you can, you know, just put what their interests are. But I find I really like to put in the little personal note that I go back in later and say, they had a sign up for such and such, their child goes to private school, their interest was what you can put into minivan. The more information, it's I've never done sales before. Maybe Joshua, when you said you were knocking on doors for work, maybe that's part of it, is salespeople, they collect that kind of data so that they are familiar and friendly and can instantly say, you know, how's your wife doing? She got that new job. That's not a trick. I mean, that's how people get along. That's how they form relationships and have context with each other. So collecting that data And before you go knock on someone's door, before somebody else goes and knocks on that door, and organizing it in a fashion so someone can find it, that's going to be magic for what you have to do and the connections that we all have to make. People in homes support and take action on a target issue. Everybody cares about something. You don't know what it is, and if we don't go ask them, we're not going to find out. We can look in Vote Builder and see that they leaned in, or that maybe they voted for Trump in 2016 and they were a disillusioned Republican by 2020, but they care about something. And what we have the opportunity to do with conversational canvassing is to find out what is it they care about. And then you can form these groups. You could have events, you could have literature, you could have a piece on the website of specific things, environmental, schools, whatever it is, and invite those people to be engaged and to be informed about a particular thing. And that's always going to work out well when you address something that they really care about. Okay, I'm going to pause there. Are there any questions that you have so far of what we've talked about, what I've talked about? Okay. We're going to start the breakout rooms now. I think we're a little bit early, but that's not a bad thing. If you have your conversation sheet, is that what it's called? It's the conversation script. And you can pick when you are in your rooms. Amir is going to assign you to your rooms. You'll see a little notice that this is the room that you're going to go to. You click admit and you'll be in that room. The two of you get to decide who's going to be the canvasser first and who's going to be the voter first. And if you're playing a role, identify who that is, what that is. Halfway through, so 10 minutes in, we will try to put up a banner so it'll say, okay, change sides. But if you can just keep a little bit of time for yourself of what the 10-minute mark is, then flip over so that you both get practice on both sides. And you might find, I remember when I did it, was listening to somebody talk to me. I think I was the voter the first time. I was able to modify what I said a little bit from what she said because it didn't like hit me right, and I was able to learn from it. So I just want you to notice while you're talking to each other, if there's anything that you notice that could modify and teach you to do a little bit better the next time, pay attention to that, and we'll probably want to share that when you come back into the general room together. Okay, so is everybody ready with their script and ready to go off and do some practice together? Yes?
Sure.
Okay. Are you getting, so Eric and Marcia, you can join your room, and Jonna and Joshua, you can join yours. And Lynn, Miriam, well, Lynn and Reva are going to stay right here in the main room. Is that how it's working out?
Off my camera, okay?
Pardon?
I think she said she was going to turn off her camera.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Can I close this that's on my screen, Mir, or does it need to stay open? Where it says breakout rooms? I can't hear you.
Probably needs to stay open just in
Okay.
case.
I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it. Okay, so let's see. So Lynn and Reva, you are a pair. Who's going to do what? And I will go to the other rooms. I don't know how to go to the other rooms. Sorry.
You should be able to click join on any of those rooms, and then you
Okay.
can always come back to this main session.
Okay, then I'm gonna go join Eric right now, and you guys can get started. Okay.
All right.
Riva, do you have a preference for which?
No, I don't. I do not have a preference. Do you?
No, I can be the voter first if you want. I'm happy either way.
All right. Okay, you could be the voter. Do you want to pick one of these, or you're going to be?
I'm gonna
yourself?
be.
Well, you don't have to tell me. You can just pick it.
Okay. Yeah.
I should be surprised.
Okay.
All right. So, knock, knock. Are you ready? Oh,
In the door.
oh, you opened the door. Okay. Oh, hi. Hi, my name is Riva, and I live in Guilford, and I'm hoping to speak with Lynn.
Hi, I'm Lynn, and I'm wondering why you're here.
Okay. Well, I'm with the Guilford Democratic Committee, and I'm just out. We're talking to neighbors today, and just wanted to talk to you a bit about what's on your mind and what are the kinds of things that you're thinking about right now. I understand that you are a registered Democrat. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely.
Right. So, can you take a couple minutes to tell me a little bit about what's on your mind these days?
Well, family is my primary concern. I've got 3 kids in public school, and I volunteer like crazy for them, PTA, school sports, all that regular stuff, Sunday school. And I've even organized a figure skating club for my daughter and her friends. I think of myself as a Democrat, and I come from a long line of Democratic family, and the men in the family were lifelong Teamsters, so they were primarily Democrats. I don't always vote. I try to always vote, at least for president and governor and the Senate and the House, but I don't know much about the local races, and sometimes I just skip those or don't vote in between election, and so I get a little nervous about that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like you have a lot going on, and and a lot of kind of interest in what's going on in the town, but it can be hard to find the time to get the information you need when it comes to voting time.
Exactly. And sometimes there is an overabundance of information. I don't know how to weed through it.
Right, right. And but it sounds like it's something that could be important to you.
For sure, for sure.
For sure. And so are you interested in kind of getting information in some kind of a condensed way that can help you with make the decisions, or is there is there a better way to help you stay informed?
Well, I know pretty much about what's happening in the schools, and I'm not happy with the book banning and the positions that some of the right wingers have taken in the schools, whether it's trans issues or, like I said, banning books, or even all this parental rights stuff. I mean, it's fine that parents have rights, but most parents are not professional, trained, educated, experienced educators. So
Right.
I pay a lot of attention to that. But the other stuff, then I kind of hit a wall about, I don't know, reproductive rights or environmental issues or all this other stuff, that there is so much information. I need to, I don't have time to weed through it.
Right, right, right. It's hard to find the time to deal with all those things. And it seems like your family and the day-to-day issues with your children in the school are the most important issues for you right now.
For
And
sure.
and
Yeah.
so you have to prioritize, right? We all have to prioritize and pick what we have time to deal with. So I would think it's, when my kids were younger, I think I also focused on the issues that directly affected them, and because they were the priority for me. And, now later on, I don't need to focus on quite that much, but I certainly appreciate how important those issues are.
Right.
So, all right, so we're violently, so that I'm just going to go off script a bit. It's like, okay, we've gotten to a point where, okay, we kind of agree. We're kind of like,
Well, yes, but you said something earlier in the conversation. You said something about how to access information in
Right.
an efficient way. Tell
right.
me.
So, well, thank you. Well, so I guess I'm kind of moving into step 4, which is kind of this call to action kind of step. Yeah. So I think that I didn't want to get there too fast, but I guess maybe sometimes you just get there quicker. But yeah, I was going to recycle back to that and to say, I think we could help. I think we could help get you information that would inform you well about these issues that are particularly important, like knowing when the book banning issues might be coming up in the school committee, because maybe that would be a good place for you to get involved, to go to one of the school committee meetings and speak up if you're against the book ban. So we could get you that information about when that's going to happen, so you don't have to wade through so much and be so overwhelmed. How about if we find a way to kind of get you that information about those things? So if you're interested, I can if you want to give me, I have your name here, Lynn. If you want to maybe give me your email address and or phone number, and I'm happy to make sure that that you get the information that you need when these important issues come up, so you can speak up. Is that something you'd be interested in having and be willing to do?
Sure. Here's my
Good.
email.
Can I add you to our MailChimp list? Yes, thank you. Okay. I got another name. Yeah. So,
But I really don't pay much attention to the local candidates, and sometimes I'm surprised when I hear what they're doing or saying.
right. No, I appreciate that. And I think maybe kind of going forward, by being able to get you information before the elections, you'll kind of understand, you'll have some of the important facts and information that you need to make the decision in the local elections. Because, a lot of it does start locally, and being able to know that that you're voting, even if our town elections are theoretically nonpartisan. So you can't look at a ballot and know if somebody's a Democrat or Republican. So you really do, in order to make an informed decision, you kind of need to know a little bit about what people's positions are. So, we can definitely help you with that, so that you understand going in, and then maybe you'd be more comfortable going to the polls because you'll have information. Like, it's hard to go and vote when you don't know anything about the candidates, for sure.
Worth a try, for sure.
Worth a try. Hey, that's good. And, I was hoping that maybe a little bit closer to the election, the next town election, which won't be until March of 2024, maybe a little closer to that, I can come by and see you again. And I'll have some written material. I can give it to you at that point. We'll give you some information about who the candidates are. Would it be okay if I came by
Sure.
again in a few months before the election? Okay.
Sure.
So actually that's such a good point, Lynn, about people not knowing information. And of course we could give it to them online, but we should go to them with written, like, don't vote for this guy. He's running. We had a guy running for school board who sends his children, he's homeschooling his children, and he's running for school board. Honestly,
Okay.
yeah.
So what is he doing wanting to get on the school board? Right.
He's already on it. He's been on it for the past 2 years.
Oh, my word.
Believe it? Like, you'd think that would be an easy guy to defeat. I mean, Bob did defeat him by 100 points, 100 votes. And luckily somebody called him out on it in the school candidate forum. Somebody did call him out, not as publicly as we would have liked because of the way the forum was. I wasn't there; I couldn't go that night. But at least somebody's like, yeah, he had to defend that. It was, yeah, that was really pathetic.
But you and I should switch now.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So,
knock, knock.
I'm trying to give me a second to think about who.
Oh, sure.
I probably should be the person, Priscilla Bean. That's why I sat next to Harry Bean.
Oh, sure. Yes, absolutely. That's great. So, hi.
Hi.
Oh, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Hi, my name is Lynn, and I live here in town, and I'm part of a group of volunteers who are out talking to folks about what's on their minds right now. As we are between elections, it's time to kind of take stock a little bit and learn what's on people's minds. So I'm wondering, what are the issues that are most important for you, if you don't mind sharing that with me?
Well, I think I'm pretty discouraged these days about how things are in our state, in our country. I have a business with my husband, and we own properties, and people, there are people, the more people get, the more they expect to get from people. They, I can always tell who are the people that are getting government handouts because they don't want to work for anything. They just expect more handouts. They figure they'll just get more kind of no matter what they do. So that's very, I don't like that. And I don't think we should be supporting people like that. So, I think that there's sometimes just too much handouts to people. And
You sound pretty discouraged by it all and frustrated.
it's
Is
very
that-
frustrating. And I get angry, we work hard and they don't seem to. And, why should they be getting handouts that I have to pay for? So yeah, I don't want to vote for people that are going to continue to support those people. It's just like everybody I deal with is like that. It just seems to be so many of them.
Well, tell me a little more about that. What kind of properties do you manage?
Like apartments.
Do you have some Section 8 apartments?
Well, yes, I do. And with people that come in like that, they take advantage of the system and, they just expect to get and get and get.
What's your understanding about who qualifies for Section 8?
That's I don't know. I guess it's just people that don't want to work.
Well, I suspect, and I'm no expert on this, but I suspect there's a little more to that. Maybe finding out about what gets people down on their luck and qualifying for Section 8, because I think it's not an easy thing to achieve. I'm
Really?
wondering, yeah, I'm wondering if that might help a little bit to kind of understand that sometimes people have a period of time that they're down on their luck. It doesn't mean that that's for all their whole lives. So I don't know, maybe just learning a little more about what Section 8 is might help a little bit.
I'll give you a little bit, go off script a little bit, because that was a discussion, not quite, she wasn't quite as bad in my conversation as I just was, but she was close. But what the tact that I took with that was to say to her something like, I work with people that have brain injury and work in group homes.
Oh, good, yeah.
And so I see it through that. I see people who end up needing a lot of support, but that's also my whole work world is people that have brain injury. I said, wow, your business is tough as a landlord. Like, you see all the people who are renting, so that almost makes it feel like that's your whole world, when I think it is a subset of people might be like that, and they're tough to deal with. But just like me, I try to think of like, well, but there are lots of other people who aren't like that.
That's a great tactic. Yeah, I like that a lot.
That got me one of my like, oh, okay. So, I think the other thing that concerns me obviously is the violence in the schools. And I've been thinking that it might be better if the teachers had guns, and then the teachers, if the teachers had guns, they could shoot a person who came into the school a lot quicker. And so that's what I think that we should be pushing in our state.
Wow, that's quite, I hadn't thought about that. That's quite a statement. How would they know whether the person is friend or foe if they walk into the school?
Well, I assume if they had a gun.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
Of course, they could be the police and have a gun.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Did you have that discussion with her?
We did. That was because I literally were sitting there as the facts of Nashville were coming out during our conversation, and she asked me, well, what do you think about that? So she proposed that as a solution. Well, what if the teacher, and I said, so here's what the tact I took. Again, Christy, you're there. Thanks for having had that training buzz in my ear. I said to her, well, yeah, that's a really challenging situation with what's going on in the schools. I said, I wonder what the teachers think about them being put in the position of being teachers. I said, I've heard a little bit, and people I know that are teachers, that they're not really that comfortable having guns and them being the ones to make the decision around whether they shoot somebody.
That's exactly where I would have gone to. Exactly. Yeah.
And then I said, so maybe there needs to be another solution than that. But yeah, that was kind of the, that was that other discussion. What else? I mean, oh my God, we talked about so many different issues through this. And in between, we'd have to stop, of course, and like get people their ballots.
Of course.
Um,
And as far as all the guns, maybe there's more than one solution. Maybe it's not one solution meets all. Maybe there's a lot of ways of looking at it to cut down the violence, and more guns may be part of one solution, but not, there may be other ways of looking at it that might be helpful. And maybe we can get you some more information about that and what the impact of is, and find out if there is any studies about what teachers think about holding, taking the responsibility for guns. I'm aware that sometimes teachers feel like they have to be educators and therapists and nurses and nutritionists, and that they have more and more roles and sometimes bigger classes and not much help. And so I'm a little worried about giving them still another role, a difficult role on top of all the rest of it.
Right. But I guess my concern is how do we protect our children in schools?
Oh, that is so important. I agree with you totally, how important it is that we keep our children safe.
Right. Right.
Yes.
And I mean, why do you think that there's been so much violence in schools? Why do you think that there have been so many shootings in schools?
Oh, I think it's a very, very complex issue. I remember after Columbine reading some books by some people who had worked in it, and feeling like when they were they were taken by helicopter into Columbine after that horrible shooting, and they were, even though they were going in to work with the people, they were feeling very excited and empowered by the importance of their being taken in by helicopter and all into this thing, and they could then start to identify with the shooters, and that scared them to death to realize how easy it was to get into the mindset of a shooter, and the empathy with that. And I think that's something we really can and should work on, in terms of what it is that gets the shooters so excited and committed to doing those deeds.
You've had an excellent conversation. Mir has sent out the 1-minute warning, so there's everybody going to be joining you again very soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
I just wanted you to know.
Yeah.
That's,
Good.
boy, what a dialogue. So did you guys switch sides?
We did. Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We did the other way first.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got to be the canvasser.
yeah. It was good. It
Excellent.
was good. Thank you, Reva. It was good.
That was fun. It's not easy. It's not easy to, I mean, it's like you have to be, so, and I think you talked about this in the videos, you've got to be on, and you've got to be like, what are they saying? What am I going to say next? Be prepared.
Yeah,
Try
yeah.
to stay casual, but also like making sure that you're kind of picking up at the points and moving it through. So you kind of missed the point. We're kind of laughing because it's like, oh, I think I've already gotten to step 4, and I couldn't.
That's okay. That's okay.
You know, it's like it is like you need to practice it.
Yeah.
I heard that from some of the candidates in the last election, was exactly that. We even had a professional actor. He'd been an actor on TV for 20 years. And he said, this is really hard. He said, I'm used to having a script and just going and do what I'm told, and having to act improv on the fly.
Yeah.
Improv on the fly. Exactly.
Yeah. And the more we practice, the better we get, of course.
Which is what all these breakout rooms are for. That's the whole point of watching what I said, flip the classroom.
Yep.
Actually practicing it is the thing that will imprint it on your mind, so that one of you will remember one of these phrases at some point when you're out talking to a person. Okay, so let's have a few reflections. How did that go for everyone?
I don't think we're back yet. Jonna
Oh, they're not here
and
yet?
Joshua are not back yet.
Oh, okay. My
There they are.
apologies.
Here they
They're
come.
coming, they're coming back.
There they come.
Okay,
Yeah, we can,
I'll step out. I got to listen to all three of the groups for a little bit. You did an excellent job. I heard some real back and forth. Eric, I have to say, he might have taken the cake.
What did he do? What
He
did
was,
do?
whoever his role was, it was the only thing he's concerned about is guns. And
I was just trying to be realistic about, you know, the kind of person whose door that you knock on that wants to talk to you about politics. Sometimes they're a single issue voter and they have a lot to say.
And Marcia was really struggling. She did a great job, but where do I go with this? What?
It was tough. She was like, I was agreeing with everything she was saying, but I was trying to act like, you know, that it was nonsense. So it was tough.
So can Lynn and Reva, can you give me an example of what you were talking about and how you felt about it?
Well, when I was I'd say when it's easier for me to talk about when Lynn was the canvasser. She can talk about me when I was the canvasser. Lynn was the canvasser. I think you made a lot of kind of good points about kind of to kind of try to expand my thinking on the particular topic. And so I think that's kind of the idea of it, to do that. So I thought, you know, hopefully someone would listen to that. Oh, you're muted,
And
Lynn.
yeah, go ahead, Lynn. You're muted.
Lynn,
you're
you're still
unmute yourself.
muted. Yeah.
yeah,
There
to
you
not disagree, but to expand on where people are. And then when you were, I mean, when I was the canvasser, I mean, when I was the voter, I thought you did a great job of offering additional information and validating my feelings and my busyness as a young parent and involvement in the schools and so on. I really felt validated in my positions, and yet encouraged me to broaden my knowledge base and some easier ways of doing that. So that was very helpful.
And John, I got her MailChimp email, so I'm set. You know, I got to the ask. We're always on that. I got to the ask, and she said I could put her on our MailChimp, so we're good.
You did it. You did it.
That was my action. I got it.
Well, I hijacked the topic for Marcia and Eric. So go back and give me reflections of what each of you think of how it went.
I think when Marcia was canvassing me, I think, you know, I had some strong ideas, and she came back with rational, reasoned arguments in a calm manner to try to kind of influence my opinion into the realm of sanity, which I thought was really good. And I think I learned a little something. It's good to be prepared with counter arguments and reasoned to you know. But I guess the more you do this, the more situations you're put in where you come up with good counter arguments to things that people say. Because I know from canvassing, you kind of do start hearing the same thing over and over again. So it's good to have kind of a canned response that you can counter with and stay calm about it, right?
I didn't see your part, Marcia, when you were the voter. What did you think about how it went?
Eric did a great job with introducing himself to the voter and opening up the discussion. I thought he had a great opening line. I wish he could probably repeat it for all of you, because I think that introduction and how you can break the ice is so crucial. And I didn't have one. I mean, I was bumbling, but Eric had a great opening so that you would want to engage with him. So you'll have to tape him doing that.
What did you say, Eric?
I have no idea.
Do you remember, Marcia? Come on, we need the secret sauce.
Hi, I'm Eric Hoffman. I'm here with the Democratic Party. I know that the election is way off, but do you remember, Eric, how you just kept finessing that and you did really well.
I read the script and I said it in my own words so that I could say it in a way that felt natural to me and not just reading it off the screen, right? So,
yeah.
I just kind of, introduced myself and why I was out there and just kind of said that, that we're out there just trying to get an idea of what's on people's minds, and you hear the issues that are important to them. And then I kind of, lead with a question like, so, what issue is the most important to you, right?
Yeah, no, but the way you did it was very well done.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And Joshua and Jana?
Well, I think that Joshua and I both chose very, very democratic characters, so it made it a little easier. But I agree with Marcia that I stumbled, and it gave Joshua, I think, a little bit of he was able to say, well, I'm going to come up with somebody that, some different things at the beginning. So it was a little bit easier for him to go right into it. But I think we were able to listen and pull a little information out of each other that made it, made the conversation.
You both came away and have learned something from each other about the topic, whatever the topic was.
We were definitely those, you're canvassing for an hour and then you have that one conversation that makes that hour worth it, right? That's what the conversations that we just had were, where they were both supporting like-minded characters that on both sides. So it was nice. It wasn't like I'm knocking on a gun crazy's door, and
isn't that the magic that inspires all of us? I haven't seen it one in an hour. I've seen it one in a day or a weekend. And everything else feels like dead wood, wasted effort. And then you get to this one magical person who just really lights you up. I have come home so many weekends just so inspired truly from one person when I've talked to 50. And that is actually the value of it for you, and despite the larger mission goal of what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, so what was hard? What was the hardest part for any of you?
Can I just ask a question real quick?
Sure.
After canvassing, not to get off track here, but after a conversation like that where you have one person through the weekend, do you write letters and just follow up with like a thank you letter at all?
You could sometimes. I mean, actually, my magical person for a whole campaign, I think she was 93 and her yard was really like a fairy tale. And I specifically called her up just because I wanted to keep in touch with her, but I didn't write her a letter. I just let her know how impressive she was, and she changed me.
Right.
So
okay.
yes, so following up, that sounds like the next step of conversational canvassing, because what are we trying to do? Make relationships with people and have consistent relationships with them. You're not going to go visit them one time and done. The whole point is having teams of people who are going out and visiting many of the same neighbors, same friends, same new voters, I hope. I don't know. I live in a small town, so I have a different perspective, but I hope that would be true in Laconia, that you come across the same people sometimes.
So can I just jump in and say that when we did canvassing, we would use the notes section, which I think, Christy, you referred to. And that's a perfect place, Josh, to write something down in the notes section. And I don't see why you can't circle back to the people that you were canvassing with that you really think need a second conversation, but just put it in the notes section.
Well, I've always, like in the past, like after door knocking, because you're right, you do it all day and you get burnt out, and then that last door you knock on, that one person answers, you have a great conversation, you're like, wow, that's what made it worth it. And I've always written them a card just saying like, thank you for that conversation, because you're the reason why I go out to have those types of conversations, because most of my day is terrible until I sort of.
We
Yeah.
are so glad you moved here from Ohio. Is that where you came from?
That was the character I was reading.
Oh, okay. Well,
No.
either way, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Does anybody else have something that was hard that they really had to push themselves to overcome?
I did. When the voter was supporting teachers having guns in order to, it just grabbed me so strongly. It was like hard for me to respond because I was in such strong opposition that I really, really struggled with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you had empathic listening to that one.
Wait, I'm sorry, Rita. Say it again. I didn't hear you.
I said, I don't think you really had empathic listening to that one. Your voice was very kind,
Well,
But-
that's good.
but your words were, you missed that first part of like, I hear what you're saying, or, I know that could be really difficult. You might have wanted to.
Yeah.
But it was
No
like, that's-
empathy, Lynn. Oh
No.
my goodness.
I know, and I don't blame you. I did not make it easy for Lynn because I didn't play a Democrat. of
That's it was
like-mindedness.
perfectly fine. Do not worry.
No, you were fine, but it was hard. It was a hard thing to listen to. And as I told Lynn and what I said earlier, I actually didn't use one of the scripts. I used this lady that I sat with for 12 hours,
Yeah.
and I was her opinions because that was her solution to gun violence in the schools. And we were sitting together. That was the day after the Nashville shooting, and all the information was just coming across information, and the trans part came up too, and it was like one loaded thing after the other. And that was her solution about if the teachers had guns. And so that's what I dumped that on poor Lynn.
You did
Anyone
great.
else? That was something hard besides besides the difficult topics that we're all going to come across.
Yeah.
Okay, was there anything that you remember from, go ahead, Mir.
Sorry, I know I didn't participate in the breakout rooms in those discussions, but I read a book called How Minds Change by David McRaney. And in there, a lot of that talks about some canvassing strategies that certain groups have done and had a lot of success with. And to address what Lynn said, her gut reaction to this idea that her contact was talking about, one of the big things with canvassing is that before you approach somebody's door, it's really important to put aside your opinions and your thoughts in order to properly listen to what the other person is saying. Because having that gut reaction, it's going to come across to the person you're speaking with. And that's going to turn them off, and they're not going to want to open up more to you. And so going into it with the mindset of your ego, your pride, and whatever the topic is, should be set aside for that short amount of time that you're talking with that person. And I think going in with that mindset can help with that part of those hard conversations when you do run into them. Keeping the focus on the person that you're approaching can really make a big difference in that active listening and asking, why they feel that way, or what it was that triggered their thought that teachers should have guns. Where did they get that idea? And delving deeper into it, but putting aside your own feelings about it is from the beginning is really important. So just wanted to mention that.
I
Thank
think that's wonderful. Yes. Like a palate cleanser for your views. Clean yourself up, and what judges have to do all the time, or just think about lawyers who defend murderers. I mean, they really have to put their own personal feelings aside, and it must be challenging. Was there anything that you remembered from the videos that you found that you were able to use while you were role playing? Nothing specific comes to mind?
Just empathy, just touching back on that again, listening.
Reflecting back, it sounds like, I don't know if I did it, but I think of it now, but you're saying, or it sounds like this is important to you, kind of that's a good way as you're trying to think of what you know, how you might answer it, or if you're going to give any kind of other thoughts, but it gives you a moment to think by reflecting back and also making sure that that's what they're saying.
That's an excellent practice. I mean, we do that anyway, and just good communication to validate what we've heard so that we make sure that we walk away with the correct assumptions, correct understanding of what was said to us. But I love what you just said, Reva, of it gives you a moment to think, a breather, so that you can collect your own thoughts separate from that. And the you guys had some challenging topics. I gotta say, I'm impressed because boy, we didn't do that when I was role playing, and very few door knocks that I had. You guys are preparing yourself for verbal
Combat.
in a good way. In a good way. It's impressive. Okay, so we're done with that part. I hope you found it useful. This is what we said of the agenda. You've done the training, now you've done the role playing. We're going to do a little bit of wrap up, just because we want you to be able to be prepared. And your leaders of your towns who are going to pull the list and start the canvassing, they're going to give you everything that you need when you're going to go out the door. But as I said in the beginning, if it's a week or 2 weeks from now and you want to have a refresher of either watching the videos again or looking at some of the other resources that we have on the website, then we're going to show you the website. Anne's going to bring it up and she can help me explain just a little bit of it. You are the canvasser in the way that we've organized it. Are you going to share your screen, Anne? Sorry, I can't hear you. Yes, it's coming. Here it is. So this is where you started, and where if you started, if you scroll down, then you went in with your password and you got to all of the videos. So once you're here and you finish with the videos, yes, you do the ready to start, click here, you watch the videos. Now you get to see a menu across the top that are drop downs for different topics. And we were in the training is what she's on right now. But if you look at canvassing, when you see the drop down there, that is going to be, is what I saw in the sample today, is going to be about twice as long. But that is where you should poke around to refresh your memory of what you've learned from the videos and today. And if you have any questions, then you will probably find it here. The general resources, I believe that's where there's issues. So for instance, so issue resources, that is a wonderful place to start if you don't know about a particular topic. So what I hear a lot from canvassers, I don't really feel good about knocking on a door because I don't know the issues very well. So what has been put together here is each one of those links is like a newspaper article or a white paper or something that you can read it, and within about 5 or 10 minutes, you'll have a pretty thorough understanding of what that particular, just enough that you'll be able to discuss it with some intelligence and facts.
Wow.
And that is just so valuable. There was a lot of work done in the last 2022 election of trying to give quick tips, a graphic, a quick phrase about a particular topic. And what I found when I was recruiting canvassers, the most important thing was, I don't really know about these things. I can't learn, and I'm just not going to go knock on somebody's door and, look stupid or uninformed or something. The real lack of confidence. And I know that if we can provide you with that information, then you'll have a lot more courage and confidence to be able to go out and talk to people about the things that they care about. So all I wanted to say is, if you do click on one of those things, everybody knows how the websites work and stuff. Use that menu that's on the blue bar. If you go to some page, all you got to do is click the back button and you'll end up back at this page. So don't go off and, you'll might be on a separate sheet, but if you just click the back button, then you'll go back exactly where you wanted to be. Okay, so is everybody clear about that? There's also, there's a leader's kit. You'll see that to the right of the logo. That's where the tools for your leaders to build to understand what lists you want in Vote Builder, not Vote Builder, but what the criteria that you want to follow, and other information that they might need. You generally won't need to do this. This will be done for you, and they'll give you your minivan number, and you're off on your day, whatever schedule it is. But it's interesting to look and see what the tools are there in case you are a leader. But anyway, it's there. And then there's that menu will be changing as I understand it. It won't be exactly this. The FAQs is always very helpful. Anyway, so we're not leaving you hanging. You did the training, you've done the workshop and the practice, and now you're going to have this continuing resource of information that Anne can probably say better than I mean, the team that's still working on it, they meet every Monday and they're still working on it. They are actually designing it, improving it every single week with great depth and understanding for what you need as canvassers. So does anybody have any other closing comments that they'd like to make of, anything that you want to see next, or what you might have? Is there anything that was missing of what you think you need in order to go out canvassing? I guess would be my closing question. Anything we could do for you to make it better?
No, but I think we should do more practicing. And I think that, and then we're going to ideally also want to train more people. That's going to be the key thing of getting more people from Guilford and Laconia. And I think maybe if we gave people a taste of it, they'd be less afraid. I think that's what keeps people from canvassing, is they're afraid of what they're going to say. It's too hard. I don't know what to say, but and just reading a script, nobody likes that. But here's some real tools that you can apply, because every house is a little different. And so maybe we can convince a few more of our town chairs and our activists to actually be willing to do it by saying it's not really hard and it actually could be fun. So
It seems to me that we can develop that in the county, and it's okay to cross town lines. It doesn't, the whole team, I don't think, has to be from the same town. And then if we offer that, those who have done the training and are feeling maybe a little bit more confident can offer to pair with somebody who's too afraid, ask them to watch some of the videos, but then go with you just to shadow you. And if you take the med school model of see it, do it, teach it, we've seen it, we've started to do it, and then teach it to another person. Bring them along, assure them that they don't really have to interact until they're ready, but just shadowing you is good reinforcement for you, and helps them feel more confident about doing it. So just pairing with somebody else who's reluctant.
Anne, go ahead.
So I was just going to say, Reba, we've been talking on our team about offering regular monthly trainings like this workshop, different days, but every month, so that anyone can have access if they want. They go to the website, you can give them the website link, they can register, we'll give them the password, they can scroll through and see what it's all about, and maybe look at the videos. And when they're ready to commit, we would just willingly take people into our workshops on a monthly basis. We're trying to make it super flexible for people who live busy lives, basically.
that sounds great.
And I love the pairing idea. I couldn't have said it better myself, Lynn. And that is exactly, I don't know what you guys experienced, but we had most of the canvassing we did in 2022 was going out with our candidate. And so it was the driver who got to watch the candidate doing that. And they are the master canvassers, or they became that if they weren't before. And we got several canvassers that now consider themselves competent and confident from being with those just on a couple of weekends with the candidates and seeing how it works. I just can't say enough good things about the buddy system. That is absolutely how you grow your group. Good idea. Good thought. Okay, I think this has been a wonderful session. I'm so impressed with all of you, and boy, your commitment it's made me inspired. I want to go out canvassing now too.
Well, come down to Guilford. Happy to have you.
And I want to thank you, the whole team, starting, of course, with Anne, but everybody who's been working on this. And I so appreciate your dedication and your knowledge and your ability to put this all together for us. It's really, really outstanding. Thank you.
Well, we want to thank you for bringing your teams to us, because without your leadership, we wouldn't be here today. So ditto
Spread
back.
the word. Spread the
Mm.
word. Tell others. We want to populate this across the
That's
state.
exactly what it's about, is telling others and inviting them into the circle. And so what we have here is a mutual admiration society.
There you go.
Well, we are having a launch of the actual program on May 2nd with Kent Street Coalition.
Oh, excellent.
Lynn, I will send you the save the date. I'm going to send
Okay.
all the county chairs. I've got that's on my to-do list. And actually, if all of you, we could have your emails, and we could send you the save the date as well. And you
That'd be
can
great.
And I'll get all the emails to you. And I don't know if I'll get it done tonight or not, but within the next day or so, I will get you everybody's emails that are here. So,
And the ones who were missing. Yes.
yes,
That you plan to come. So thank you for your leadership, Lynn, because I agree with Ann. No, I guess nobody would be here if, we weren't all talking to each other to encourage each other to spend our time doing this in a valuable way. Thank you, Mir, for being my friend and my techno expert and making the rooms all work great. We all learned something. And as I said, Ann is I'm forever grateful to Ann and Martha and the whole outreach team that you had it right. They have created something really special. And if we can't communicate, that's part of the whole politics. I've heard that phrase recently. Politics is a matter of addition, not subtraction, like the Republicans. Communication is a form of addition. If we cannot communicate effectively, it doesn't matter what we think or what we feel. And that is what this whole program just always taught to me from the very first time I watched the first video, was like, they know, these people know how to communicate. And so thank you very much for attending. This has really inspired me. I'm going to be excited the rest of the night, just thinking about you guys.
wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Really nice to meet
Okay.
you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.